purge begin.
Let the purge begin. We are actually recording now, for real.
Let the purge begin. All right, here we are.
Hey,
we
guys.
are purging today.
Welcome to another wonderful episode of the... Not that podcast. It's not that podcast. Okay, this is the UNLearning Project podcast. Official. No, I think that's funny. We should leave it. Just leave it all in.
All right, sorry guys.
It doesn't have to be perfect. Unlearn your
really
perfection.
Silly right now. We're feeling goofy.
It's very silly. I think it's this hot chocolate coffee thing that I made us. It wasn't that good today.
Wow.
So here we go. Welcome back to another episode. If you've been following along, we've been in a series about the top 10 tips for unlearning, the top 10 ways to begin unlearning. That comes off of our PDF download, which you can get at greatunlearningproject.com and a number of other places across the internet. And
including the show notes.
People are getting it like it's going out of style. You probably should too. But today we're getting into step 3. So week 1, we talked about stop doing what's not working. And then last time we talked about creating some space, creating some white space. And today we're talking about the Purge.
Or else.
Not the movie The Purge, because that was terrible. You don't need to watch it. Don't waste your time.
But okay, so we did say stop it. Stop the insanity. Stop doing what's not working. Then just like insert a bookmark and pause. Take a beat. And now in that space, it's a good time to get rid of some of the old crap. Because otherwise, I feel like if we don't purge, I use the analogy of the closet all the time. And you guys, I'm sorry if you're tired of hearing it, but it's a good one to hear over and over again.
You don't have to be sorry.
It's like you go and you're like so sick and tired of all your old clothes because they're like, they don't look fresh anymore. They don't even like smell nice. They don't lay on your body nice, but you've got this closet and it's crammed full of crap. And then you go shopping and you're so excited to have all these new clothes. And you come home and everything's so crammed in. And so instead of just like taking stuff out, you just kind of, you've done it. I know you have, because I've done it, where you just like push all the hangers over real hard. Mm-hmm. And you just like put your new clothes in there and you get, you try to get the old ones away from there, but you don't really, because they're still in there. And then after like a couple days of you being excited, a week goes by, and the next thing you know, your brand new clothes are getting all squished from the old clothes. They're starting to look like the old clothes. They're starting to smell like the old clothes, and they're starting to be treated like the old clothes. And so our lovely new things that we tried to bring into the closet, that we tried to make space for, are now overtaken by the old stuff. And that's why I think it's so important for us to talk about purging, whether it's physical stuff, mental stuff, emotional stuff, spiritual stuff.
I had a brand new shirt from Express. Literally didn't even make it out of the packaging for like 4 months.
It was just in the closet, in the package.
And
like, these shiny new things, and then they're just shoved in there. So let's talk about purging. So what do we actually mean? We kind of gave a little intro, but so what do we actually mean when we talk about purging? Obviously, you guys have all purged something before, and doesn't it feel so good?
Well, and it's trendy right now, right? There's all these shows on Netflix about it and gurus that will help you purge. You can even get like a coach or a consultant to come over and observe you in your house, like while you're purging the things and like getting rid of your physical things. So that's one way. Purging
physically
has
purging
a very physical connotation to it. We can see ourselves purging unnecessary clothing, things from our house, stuff, clutter from our life, etc. You can go in and purge your email, right? There's things I can do to, like, the other day I saw in this one email address that I barely ever check. I just kind of scrolled through, nothing I really need in here. There was like 3,000 unread messages. I just purged it. I probably just need to purge the damn email address, but at least I got the inbox empty. So there's ways that we can go about the physical side of it. There's the physical side, but there's also the what we call the emotional side of it as well.
The physical,
two buckets.
And the mental, and I think there's 4.
There's
the mental, I think there's the mental. I think there's the emotional. I think that there's a spiritual bucket.
Got it.
And I think that there's a physical bucket. Maybe there's even more than that. I don't know. Maybe you guys have more buckets. But let's start with the easy one. Let's go, why do we need to have a purge? So part of the unlearning is getting rid of the old. I mean, that's really what it's about. It's not bringing more stuff into our house that's already got like 20 of the same tools. We just keep trying to layer more crap, right? We try to bring more stuff into this house. And so we do this physically. And so for me, I think this is a really easy place to start. If you don't know where else to start, because physical clutter is really overwhelming in general, and it blocks our ability. It stifles our capacity.
Well, and I want you to think about it this way, right? So as within, so without. So if I'm noticing around me that there is a lot of physical clutter, whether it's in your closet, in your house, in your car, et cetera, then chances are that's just an expression of what's already programmed inside. And the fact of the matter is that you probably do have a lot of mental, emotional, spiritual clutter that gets to get dealt with. Sometimes it's hard to it's not as easy to think, okay, where are all my emotions stored up and how do I go about purging those today? That's a little bit,
We'll get
less,
there. We'll get there.
That's more of an unlearning thing, whereas purging your closet is something you can do, right? So, a lot of our stuff has been a lot about like not doing things, but this is one of those things that just makes the space around you so that the energy around you is supportive of you now going to work on the internal.
Yeah, it's so clean. You know what I loved about this office? When I got this office that we're in right now, we're actually recording it. There was like nothing in here except for a white desk and my Mac. And it was I walked in here and I felt so at ease. I have this big window that gets to look outside. So I have this clear window, these light walls. It's really bright in here. The desk was clear. And I was like, I felt so good. And every time I came in here, it was like, boom, I could just like get down, get right to work, start working on things because I wasn't distracted. There was nothing on my desk to distract me. There was no bells. There was no stuff in the corner, whatever. And then what happens over time, right? Like I started slowly bringing files in. I wasn't putting things away. And I mean, we all do this. But what I found was I started bringing, some file cabinet things in. And before I knew it, I'd built a little corner pile happening over there. And then there was a little pile of papers on the corner of my desk. Actually, my desk is usually pretty good. But I still have these like 10 papers over there that I'm looking at right now. And I really do get to move those. But today we came into the office and I said, we had time blocked off this afternoon to work on our projects. And I was like, we cannot work on the projects until we build this little unit and I get these files away because they're triggers. Every time we see that bill or every time we see that letter or every time we see anything, it's a trigger. Your brain is already trying to process, what do I do with it? When is it due? What did I do with it already? What's the next step? So even though I'm not addressing it, it's taking up bandwidth. So this is like one of the things we talk about in high performance coaching a lot when we look at productivity and the things that impede it is like, what are all the things that are just taking up my bandwidth that are like my massive distractors? And paper files, like crap. One of the things I'd love to do this year is really go paperless as much as possible, besides my journals. Started the process of scanning things into Dropbox just because it feels so free. And like you can find that stuff on a click, but then if you have all this crap everywhere and you're trying to find it, like how much time is wasted? So the paper, I think where we work is so important. Like I know it's important for me to keep it like super clean so I can focus and get right to it.
It is for me too. I think you always laugh at me because in large part, I live out of a suitcase. Like let's be honest. I mean, even when I'm at home, I just like wash the things that I was just traveling with, and then just kind of repacking and pretty much wearing the same stuff. I don't even know I have a closet, to be honest with you. So
purge. When I come, we'll purge in the closet.
We're gonna purge all those old Thrive Today shirts.
Yeah.
But it's important, right? When I'm traveling, let's say I'm usually going somewhere for 4 to 5 days at a time, I know exactly what I need for those 4 to 5 days, right?
So easy.
And it fits into my nomadic backpack perfectly. That just fits all my stuff exactly where it needs to go. I can put my shoes, my tennis shoes, my running shoes in there, workout clothes, dress clothes, et cetera, and boom, done. So it's important for me to kind of keep that stuff. And so yes, that's true. I work with minimal stuff. Usually it's just my iPad with a little keyboard attached to it when I haven't stepped on it and broken it, which I did lately, so I get to buy a new one. But it's, yes, very clean workspace. Even my standing desk at home will rarely now have anything on it. That was not a historical thing for me, and I want to use this as kind of a transition point to think, okay, how did that happen, right? Because I'm historically one messy motherfucker, okay?
You are messy. Okay,
I am
messy.
messy.
We get to purge some things.
And like there's certain parts of my life where I'm just like,
Super
no
simple.
more. I want no more clutter in my business. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I want clean bills processing. Like when I go in to look at my bank account, there's like predictable, sustainable bills flowing through because there are things that we need for the business. I want to know exactly when they're coming in, when they're going out. Somebody else handles that for me. So I'm outsourcing and delegating a lot of that stuff. But all of that specifically, so that's why my desk is more clean because than it has been historically. It just has the things on it that it needs. I even have a little box where my like a little shoe box that mail goes in, and then as I need something, I take it out of there. So I've gotten really good at that piece of organizing my life. So my business travel and my business life on my little standing desk in the home office. Now here's why, is because I had gotten to this point, right, where in my business I just wanted more freedom. I wanted more clarity. I wanted more things to be looking the way that I want them to go and going the way I want them to go. I had some changes in personnel, which meant I got to take on a little bit more work for the in the near term. So I need clarity. I need cleanliness. I need it to look that way. At least I feel I do in order to be effective. So that has now become a reflection of making a decision.
Yeah, and it really changes your vibration. We talk a lot about what frequency, what vibration are you at, and when things are just cluttered, when there's a lot of physical clutter, it's just noise, right? Think about it. It's just like stuff. It's noise. It's like your brain has to process what's around. So when you have a lot of stuff happening, it's just heavy. It's a heavy vibration. It's heavy, and so we become an energetic match for that. We become a vibrational match for disorganization. We become a vibrational match for chaos. We become a vibrational match for overwhelm. And so I think that starting with the physical stuff, I know for myself, it's just an easy place to shift my vibration, to start the momentum, because then it's easier to access some of the other stuff that's also stuck. So I love Marie Kondo's book, The Magic Art of Tidying Up. I know, she's got her own show now, and this is but I love what she says, where it's like, pick it up, you touch it once, and then you say, like, does this bring me joy? It's like, do I feel expansive when I pick this pen up, this thing on my desk, like, or is it constrictive? And if it's not, like, if it doesn't add joy to your life, like, get rid of it. And obviously you're not going to get rid of all your business things. However, like, is there a better way? Is there a way to get rid of it so I don't have to physically see it all the time, but I can access it on demand when I want? Because that's really what we have. It's like we have this supercomputer that's our brain, and I don't want to access the whole vault all the time. I just need to be able to know, okay, it's the data and information is in there. When I need it, I can go in and access it easily, quickly, readily. But I think we keep this clutter and all this stuff because we're afraid that somehow, we will be able to access it. And the funny part is that the very reason we keep all this crap is the very thing that holds us back. It keeps us stuck. Like, we think about that all the time. We talk about, like, what got me here won't get me there. It's the very thing that I'm afraid of is the very thing I need in order to get the freedom I desire, right? Like, I don't want to get rid of this, because what if one day I need it? And in the meantime, that's the very thing that's keeping us from having the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like ridiculous. So yeah, start with the easy stuff. Desk is huge. Work environment is massively really important.
And I like when you talk about I want to keep focusing on this as we look at the other types of purging.
I have one more thing that I want to talk about clothes, though.
Well,
so let's talk about clothes in a second.
So, but around the vibrational match, right?
Yes.
Are things a vibrational match? So one of the CEOs that I really look up to in the business world is one of the co-founders of Paul Mitchell Hair Products and Hair Salons, the founder of Patron Tequila.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. And not because it's tequila and not because I use Paul Mitchell, because I don't really use either one of those things, at least not very much. But I do, I admire him because he as a leader has learned to create multi-billion dollar enterprises, and the dude doesn't have email.
Oh yeah.
John Paul
Right? So
DiGiorio.
email
John Paul
is a huge
DiGiorio.
one.
Yeah, and
He's
the
the one
Tom
you're talking
Bilyeu
about,
interviewed him
right.
on Impact Theory, which is where I first picked up on that. I've been following him for years and like his story, and because it's just a very inspiring. Here's a guy that was almost 40 and just flat broke, right, and has made it and done very well, right? So if you're in that age, category, kind of like we are, there's hope for you yet. And but he has just like a completely different unlearning kind of esque-ness about him that I really am interested in, because he's created a ton of success. He helps so many people through his charities and the work that he does to give back, and I really admire. But one of the things that he does in order to release clutter is that he has purged
He's
email.
email free.
He has no email.
Yeah. And what's funny when you say that is, as a high performance coach, a lot of times I'll look in and the excuses that people say, I don't have time. I don't have time for X, whatever it is. Workout, I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have time to stop for lunch because, I have too much stuff to do.
Yeah.
And so one of these fun little exercises I do when we're doing some soul aligned productivity is we go, okay, let's play a game and see how much time you spend in your email. Forget about social media. And it's not a guess. We actually figure out how many hours in the week people actually sit down and are in their email. And it's crazy the amount of time that we are in there. And so there you go. Talk about freedom, freeing up some time. And a lot of it is just, like you said, it's unsubscribing or responding to stupid crap that we don't even want. And it's taking up our space. It's taking up our bandwidth. So email is a huge one. I got to work on my email.
Well, and I'll tell people that sometimes, like, that's my goal. My goal is to be email free. Right, and I haven't set a deadline, so we're still not email free.
but here's the thing: you got to unlearn. So the thing that keeps us stuck is like they have this idea like, I have to be on call all the time. Like every time I see that notification come in my corner, if I don't respond, then that means I'm lazy or I don't care, or we've been programmed and conditioned to think, well, I have to check my email 20 times a day or respond to every ping that comes in. And again, that's just conditioning, and we've always been training ourselves. And so now it's like, well, what if I just unlearned that whole idea and started to create space for something to look different? What would that look like? I mean, here's a guy that's running a billion-dollar company with no email, so somebody's got it figured out. So
this is not to say that he's not communicating with people. No, he's just created better ways, different ways anyway, to be able to stay in communication and still obviously effectively get the things done or allow the things to happen. In his case, he's allowing things to happen through his team, and he just spends his time, invests his time in building his team around him. Now, with my team as an example, we had a situation going where it was just so much, like there's so much communication around event planning, and especially during like our busy seasons. So last year we implemented Slack as an internal communications tool. We have now damn near zero internal email.
That's awesome.
Almost zero. And that's with 7 full-time team members and lots of communication, expectations happening. Here's what has to happen from an unlearning perspective though, guys. You get to start to ask yourself, what would it look like if I had a little bit less stress around communication?
Yeah, is this congesting me? Am I stressed and anxious every time I'm doing this pattern?
Exactly. And then what are my belief systems around email? Or in this case, we're just using email as the example, but what are my belief systems around this that say I have to respond within 5 minutes, right? Yeah. And somebody will say, well, my boss expects me to reply, And in some cases, that's true, right? And so then the question becomes, well, what conversation do you then get to have with your boss to set some new expectations around when you're going to respond and how quickly you're going to respond? And if it's that urgent, maybe they're giving you a call instead of sending you an email.
Yeah, I just like I think to simplify it even more is just, I love the question that you always say is like, well, what else is possible? Kind of like, what else, right? What else? What are different ways of doing this? Because we get stuck in the same old pattern. We get stuck just shoving those same clothes back in the closet. We get stuck just, opening the email a million times a day, not even unsubscribing. We just get stuck, like we delete them maybe, but we don't ever just remove it, right? So the question is really like, is it still working? And what would it look like? Like what else is possible, right? Like what kind of space would free up if I didn't have this? And what else is possible? We talk about the closet. I'm going back to clothes because, clothes are important. But what I'm saying here about the closet and all this stuff that we have is that because I did 20 years of holistic health coaching, and I spent so much time, and even now when people come, they're upset with the way they look, right? Most people are not happy with the way they physically look in their body. Let's just be real. Like, that's the reality. Most people are frustrated because they're not caring for themselves the way they want. They're feeling overweight, overwhelmed, exhausted. And so I'm talking about the clothes thing because how we feel in our body is so important, and how we feel when we put on clothes and we head out into the world. And so, putting things like, just like your office space, whether it's your office space, but like what we put on at the start of the day also massively shifts our energy and our vibration. And when we look good, when we're physically wearing things that make us feel confident and taller and energized, whether it's a color we love, and this sounds so simple, but it's actually really powerful because it changes your whole, it's like a different person shows up. I've had so many clients where we just play with different outfits, and all of a sudden they'll just change their outfit, and it's like, whoa, where did that woman come from, or where did that guy come from? Because we just don't take care of ourselves, and because we have all this old stuff, and we're like, well, I'll just keep it and just throw it on. It's like, stop throwing stuff on. Stop throwing stuff on your desk. Stop throwing things on your body. Stop just piling shit on that you don't even like. That actually shifts your energy. So what if you just like, this does not make me look good. It does not make me feel good when I wear it. So like, get rid of the shit.
Get it out of here.
Get it out. All right, physical stuff gets to go. So I have to I'm going to make I don't want to say want, but I'm going to definitely purge my closet. Because now that I say that, you guys, I'm just really talking to myself, okay?
Got it.
I got to purge my closet because I only wear the same things over and over.
They say that we teach the things that we need the most.
Yeah. So you need to clean your email, apparently.
And which I did last. So I'm using that as an example because I did that last week. And I just know historically I've been really crappy at returning email because I hate it so much. And so I agree. So then I was like,